quiet broadcast. True horror, real signals. Enter the darkness.
This happened in late 2021 when I was staying at my cousin's house in Northern California. He lived in a pretty isolated area surrounded by trees, and the closest neighbor was probably a 5-minute walk away. One night we stayed up playing games in the living room until around 2 a.m. Eventually my cousin went upstairs to sleep, but I stayed downstairs watching YouTube on the couch. At some point I started hearing tapping. Not loud, just faint tapping against the window behind me. At first I ignored it because tree branches hit the house all the time, but after a few minutes I realized the tapping had a pattern. 3 taps, pause, 3 taps again. I muted the TV and listened. Same pattern. That's when I looked toward the window. The blinds were closed, but there was a small opening near the bottom, and through it, I could see shoes. Someone was standing right outside. I completely froze. I slowly stood up and backed away from the window without making noise. Then the tapping stopped. A few seconds later, I heard footsteps moving across the porch. I ran upstairs to my cousin's room and woke him up immediately. We checked the security camera footage the next morning. At 2:13 a.m., a man walked onto the porch and stood directly outside the living room window. He stayed there for 53 minutes. The creepiest part is that he never once looked at the camera. He just stared into the house.
When I was 17, I used to stay home alone almost every night because my dad worked late shifts. One night during a storm, my TV suddenly switched to a channel called Channel 6. The weird part was, we didn't even have cable connected. The screen showed nothing but dark static. Then text suddenly appeared on the screen. "Watch the hallway." At the exact same moment, I heard movement outside my bedroom door. Slow footsteps dragging across the floor. I honestly thought someone had broken into the house. I grabbed a baseball bat and locked my bedroom door. Then my TV volume suddenly increased by itself. Under the static, I could hear whispering. I couldn't understand most of it, except for one sentence. "He's outside your room." I called my dad immediately. He answered and told me he was still 20 minutes away from home. I stayed locked in my room until he got back. We searched the entire house together. Nothing was missing. Nobody was there. But the hallway carpet outside my room had wet footprints on it, leading toward my door.
Back in 2020, me and 2 friends went camping near Big Bear for a weekend. The campground was mostly empty because it was freezing outside. Around midnight, we started hearing whistling somewhere in the woods. At first, it sounded far away. Then every few minutes, it got closer. One of my friends joked that somebody was messing with us, but the whistle sounded wrong somehow. It was too perfect. Like the exact same sound repeated over and over. Eventually, it got so close that it sounded like it was right outside our tent. Then it stopped completely. We sat there in silence for maybe 30 seconds, and then something hit the side of the tent. Hard. All 3 of us jumped. My friend immediately unzipped the tent and pointed his flashlight outside. Nothing was there. But about 20 feet away, standing between the trees, we saw someone. Just standing there, completely still. The flashlight only hit them for maybe a second before they walked behind a tree. We didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, we found footprints circling the tent. Bear footprints.
If you enjoyed tonight's stories, subscribe for more true horror uploads every week. And if you have a scary story of your own, send it to Quiet Broadcast